Hello, everyone. Welcome to our last day of notes for the year. All of it. It's all over. Thank goodness. I will be sending out another video just to kind of give you an update on how things are going in my life and what to expect for the last few days of school, but I'll be sending that out later. So let's go ahead and get started with Reconstruction Day 4. Um, so these are short notes, and there's three main things you've got to know, and it's the acts that were passed during and after the Civil War, and a lot of these encouraged westward movement, people to move out west. The first one I want you to write down is the Homestead Act of 1862. Just like it sounds, it's a way to create homes. Okay. Now, this is right smack dab in the middle of the Civil War, 1862. But the idea here is we're going to give people land out west. Okay. Land where there's not anyone living there. So we're going to give them land, 160 acres, and it's theirs for free. They get to keep it as long as they live there and they improve the land, which really what this means is Lincoln is wanting people to move out west to inhabit the West. So let's not just take this land and save it for later. Let's take this land and use it. So they had to improve it, which usually means you've got to build a house and farm on it. Okay. So if you create a farm or a crop or something productive, it's yours for the keeping. Okay. The second act I want you to write down is the Morrill Act of 1862. Um, this act is made so that universities can be funded with federal money. Now, the idea is each state out west is going to get a certain amount of land and they can use that land and sell it. So the state, let's just pretend, state of Texas is given 10,000 acres. When the state of Texas sells those 10,000 acres and the money they get from that, they can use that money to open up schools. Now, the schools that they open up have to teach agriculture and mechanics. Agriculture, A, mechanics, M, A and M. That's why we see Texas, A and M down here. Okay. Agricultural mechanics schools are opening up all over the place during this time because they're using this money that they got from the Morrill Act of 1862. Texas A&M got their start, got their funding from the Morrill Act. Okay, so first one, Homestead Act. Second one, Morrill Act. Both of them are encouraging movement out west. Okay, the Homestead Act is free land for people to take and use. The Morrill Act is for states to take and sell that and use the money to open up these schools. Okay. Native Americans, obviously, this is always going to be a problem. We are trying to figure out what to do with them and how to get them assimilated to American lifestyle. So, in order to, once again, move people out west, in order to have more land to settle over on the east side and these more fertile areas in the south and southeast, we're going to give some land to the Native Americans that isn't quite as attractive, that isn't quite as useful. Um, Places like Oklahoma, okay? So we're going to give this land to these Native Americans away from where we want to be, where the Americans want to be, okay? So they were forced to live on these small plots of land that weren't quite as fertile, and they weren't, it just wasn't a desirable area to be. Now, this act, what we call this is the Dawes Act. And the Dawes Act is in 1887. And the idea is to create these spaces for Native Americans, a place to live, kind of trading them good land that they're on that we want for land somewhere else that we don't really want, and to kind of get them away from where we want to be. So each Native American family was given at least 160 acres of farmland But this farmland was not great farmland. It was sometimes in mountainous areas where you can't grow crops as well. And it was not as successful as the Morrill Act or the Homestead Act of 1862. This was more of a way to give us more space for the Americans and move the natives somewhere out of our way. So the Dawes Act, not quite as successful, not very fair, but we justified moving these people. Once again, we are moving these native people off of their given land that they've been on for hundreds of, really thousands of years, and we're taking it for ourselves. And every time we do this, we try to find a way to justify it and to make it to where it doesn't seem quite as bad as what we're really doing, which is stealing their land. So the Dawes Act was, like the notes say here, I write this down, it was passed as a way to help Native Americans live more like Americans and encouraging them to farm and encouraging them to pick up agriculture. But the land they were giving them, they weren't setting them up for success. They were giving them land that was not as fertile and not as desirable, and therefore they weren't going to be successful with that. Okay, so that's it. That's all the notes we have for today. You've got the Dawes Act, you've got the Homestead Act, and the Morrill Act. Okay, the way I remember these, the easiest way: Homestead Act, I can go make a home somewhere instead of here. Okay, my homestead is going to be out west. I get 160 acres. All I have to do is build a house and farm it, and it's mine for free. The Morrill Act, A&M colleges, Morrill Act, is for these agricultural and mechanical colleges to be opened using these funds from the state, from the federal government, this land given to the states to sell and make money. And then the last one is the Dawes Act. Okay, the Dawes Act was for the Native Americans, not as successful. Trying to get them to assimilate to our way of life, but not very good. Okay, all right, that's it. I hope you have a wonderful day. Don't forget to wash your hands. I've enjoyed teaching you online. I prefer to be in person, but here we are. I'm going to send you one more video, so keep your eyes open for that, and I will see you soon. Have a great day. Bye-bye.